4, 3, 2, 1.
Hey, Gravity Formers, it's May 30th. Welcome back from that U.S. holiday. We've got a great show lined up for you today, talking about the updates coming to Stripe 5.0. I have a fantastic interview with the Travis Lopes from CosmicGiant, formerly ForGravity. A Gravity Forms giveaway. You can hear that from Izzy in a moment. It's Breakdown, a Gravity Forms podcast. With WordCamp EU right around the corner, most of our marketing team will be there in the booth, greeting you, letting you try Gravity Forms if you've not tried it yet, and grab some sweet swag. Of course, we always have some of the best t-shirts. I know I'm biased, but I feel like of all the WordCamp, WordPress t-shirts that I own, the Gravity Forms ones are always the best. They go fast, so definitely check those out. I think we chatted about that in the last episode, but we're doing a bit of a giveaway on TikTok for WordCamp EU. I'm going to let Izzy from our team describe what's happening with that.
WordCamp EU will be here before you know it, and we can't wait. Not only are they chock full with learning opportunities, but it's a great time for networking and sharing groundbreaking ideas. Which is why we're hosting a WordCamp EU #FormAnything giveaway. Here's what you need to know to enter. All you need to do is follow us on TikTok, share or repost one of our recent TikToks, and tag us in your own TikTok using #FormAnything. And that's it. The giveaway will run until June 9th at 9 a.m. EST, and we'll be giving away the prizes June 10th at the Gravity Forms booth. We'll see you there.
All right, so if you're headed to WordCamp EU and you're a TikTok user, follow at Gravity Forms on TikTok, share or repost a recent Gravity Forms TikTok, and then tag it with #FormAnything. Izzy from our team will pick a lucky winner. Okay, enjoy your time at WordCamp EU. Enjoy TikToking. Enjoy following us on Gravity Forms on TikTok. She does a fantastic job. Let's talk about this Stripe add-on. So hopefully by the time you're listening to this episode, Stripe 5.0 will be available to auto-update or download from your Gravity Forms dashboard, Stripe 5.0. It's going to come with some amazing features that a lot of you have been asking for. A lot of it is improvements on Gravity Forms side, improvements on Stripe side. I'm going to talk about a high level and then maybe get a Gravity Forms engineer on in the future to talk about sort of under the hood of what's changing or what has changed. The biggest thing is now enabling 20 plus payment methods. I think for a lot of us who are servicing clients or running our own sites with either donations or products, we just simply want more payments. We want to turn on more payments, including the age-old ACH debit, Apple Pay, Google Pay, and all of these payment methods that make the transaction easier and faster for our end user, for our customer. Autofill payment details with Link, capital L, is Stripe's accelerated checkout. If customers choose to opt in, Link saves and autofills users' payment and shipping details across hundreds of thousands of sites. Tens of millions of customers use Link. You can tell I'm reading this from Stripe's documentation to check out as little as 6 seconds. There's a link in their own documentation from something called Stripe's 2023 Sessions or Sessions 2023, where they sort of talk about sort of almost like the state of the word of Stripe. And they talk about how 7 to 10% of businesses gain more revenue because of, obviously saving the payment details, right? It's quick, it's easy, it's fast. Since most people are doing things on mobile, you don't want to be searching around for your credit card or your payment details. Heck, even logging into PayPal is a one-step process. If you've saved the password, it still pops up. So saving this stuff moves the user through the checkout process a whole heck of a lot faster. And again, you're just benefiting by making it easier for your end user, for your customers. If you're using Stripe Checkout, there's no other, you don't have to do anything else. Once the plugin updates, and of course, it's activated on your site, there's nothing else you have to do if you're already using Stripe Checkout. Once you've updated, the additional payment methods will be automatically enabled, and Link will be handled on the checkout page. So that'll give the user option on the checkout page. So nothing you have to do. Those additional payment methods will automatically be available, again, if you're using Stripe checkout and that's enabled on your site. If you're using Stripe Elements, once you've updated to 5.0, you can enable and disable additional payment methods and Stripe link on a form-by-form basis from within the Stripe field settings. Let me just bold that. We're also going to mention that in the email that goes out. I'll repeat it. Stripe link on a form-by-form basis from within the Stripe field settings. That's where you want to go to enable that stuff on a form-by-form basis. Simply select to enable additional payment methods, as well as map your form's email field to the link email field to allow your customers to use Stripe link on your site. I'll have that linked up in the show notes. It'll be in our documentation, of course. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward, but an exciting new time to have this new version of Stripe. Coming up, I'm going to sit down with TL, Travis Lopes, of formerly ForGravity, now CosmicGiant, going to sit down with us and chat with us about the move to the new brand name and what his products do for you in the Gravity Forms ecosystem. CosmicGiant?
Yeah.
We've got a rebrand on our hand. How did we get there?
It's been a long time coming, pretty much since I started the company back in 2017 and picked a name but didn't like it just from the jump. But sometimes you just like, hey, I want to ship these plugins and I need a name. So like, let's go with this and let's see what happens. Because you don't know, like I could put these plugins out there and no one likes them. And like 2 months later, I'm like, okay, that was a unsuccessful project. Let's move on.
Yeah, are we allowed to say the old name or is that?
Yeah, so
is that
we
bad?
were ForGravity before because we build our products for Gravity Forms. But that can be tricky sometimes. If you type in ForGravity, you get Google results for things for Gravity Forms and not necessarily us. It's like a mix of stuff like that and us looking a little bit forward and wanting to expand into the broader WordPress space in the future made us want to switch the name up a little bit and go with, after an 8-month search and looping back to a name we discarded like a week in, we landed back on CosmicGiant.
CosmicGiant, now the new home for entry automation, fillable PDFs, advanced permissions, and legal signing. Do you have a favorite child here of the plugin themes? Which one's your favorite of the plugins?
Fillable PDFs. It's definitely like our highest seller, and I think it's because it's very easy for Gravity Forms user, whether you're a beginner, a power user, advanced, expert. Like it's very easy to pick up and start generating PDFs with. You don't need really any technical knowledge going into it. All you need is an existing PDF that has fields in it, which you can export something you made in like InDesign or Microsoft Word, just throw it into Adobe Acrobat, have it detect those fields, and then all of a sudden you have a PDF that you can generate Gravity Forms entries with. And we've like streamlined the process that way. When you need to like link up your form with your PDF, you can just very easily see like, hey, here's my PDF, and I see the fields, and you click on the field and like, boom, like map your Gravity Forms field to it.
Part of my hope for this podcast is that folks who are listening to this are listening to it because they want to unlock new ideas and new opportunities within the Gravity Forms ecosystem. It's part of the description, or at least I hope I left that in the description of the podcast. This immediately unlocks tons of opportunity, things that you can either start probably an entire business on converting your customers' old PDFs that they have in a drawer, that they have people fill out in person only, now unlocked to do this whole online thing in the year 2023 to submit forms, scan forms, and you could probably build a whole service. Have you heard of any of that? Have any of your customers come to you and said, you know what, I have like this niche micro business taking PDFs and running with it with a certain set of, let's say, local customers in my community?
Oh, absolutely. Like off the top of my mind, I can come up with 3. There was one business that did a lot of like wedding planning. So like they would do all their certificates around like the wedding certificate and all that stuff. They would generate through the forms. There's a company that does court forms. So like you can just like go in and plug in your information and it will generate like all the like legal documents you need to like submit when you go to court. And there's also a business, they do estate planning for people, like doing wills and stuff. And their old process used to be like a client would call in, they would talk to one of their customer service reps for about an hour and a half, 2 hours, like collect all the information that's needed for a will. And then they would have to send that information back to the customer to get verified, and then that would go to their legal department. So there would be all this bouncing around and like all this person time put into it. And by being able to utilize fillable PDFs, now the customers can go right on the site. They can put in all their information themselves, and it goes right to the legal team. So it cuts out all this back and forth, all the time for people on the phone, and it's been a big boon for their business.
What about saving data, maybe personal data? I think a lot of things that come to mind is like, yeah, there's a lot of old crusty businesses out there that were still handwriting things in, but maybe they're asking for, I don't know, social security, they're asking for income, they're asking for all this information. Is that still does the user still have to rely on, let's say, their hosting plan, where they're saving data to do these kinds of things? Or do you have any checks and balances from the technology side that can kind of safeguard people from that? Or do you have best practices that you put in place?
Well, our best practice is always like, don't store secure information on your website. Like if you're doing stuff like that, you definitely want to look into like HIPAA related hosting and stuff. But with fillable PDFs, you can also send generated documents off to Dropbox, which can be very secure. So you could easily collect that secure data, generate your fillable PDF, have that sent off to Dropbox, and then using entry automation immediately after, delete that entry data immediately off your server.
And that's a plugin that will trigger an action that happens on the site. Like you just said, delete it. What else does it do?
Yeah, so entry automation has 3 main actions. You can export entries, you can delete entries, and you can send notifications either on form submission, on a schedule, or manually. So like what people will often do is for GDPR compliance, they will set up a schedule and automatically delete either full form entries off the site, or they pick specific personal identifying data and they just delete those items from the entry. People often create weekly reports of like, hey, here's everybody that submitted like this giveaway contest form. Like, here's everybody that this week that submitted it. And you can also do that like in a notification. So instead of getting a notification every time someone submits the form, you can have a digest that collapses all of those notifications into an email. And the beauty of entry automation is that on top of being able to do all of that with entry data, if you are using the Gravity Forms Save and Continue feature to do draft submissions, you can also export, delete, and send notifications around those draft notifications. So you can access those draft submissions that you normally can't see in Gravity Forms and get copies of those. And you can also send follow-up emails of like, hey, customer, you've not finished this form. Come back and finish it.
There's so much opportunity around that just for your end users who are already purchasing your product and adding it into the suite of Gravity Forms plus your stuff, for them to solve these issues. There's businesses that can be had from this. I think of real estate. You and I have talked about this before. I think about real estate. God, real estate closings, like all this stuff where people come to you with literal reams of paper, and they're like, here, write on this, do it twice because we need a copy. Yeah. I'm like, why? It's 2023. I just want to do this stuff online. Business must be fairly good for you. What's the one thing?
Speaking about like all that paper generation stuff, one thing we plan on doing soon is launching like a sustainability page, because we keep track of just general data about like how many PDFs are generated and like the file size and stuff. So we'll be able to provide information soon on like, hey, here's how many trees we saved from being cut down by like not having to print out all these PDF documents and sign them. Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah. 20 years ago, you didn't think you'd be the hero of trees. Today you are.
Absolutely.
You should have called yourself Tree Hero instead of CosmicGiant. No, that's a terrible name. That's why I'm not in the product team. All of this stuff, right? So like binding all of this technology together, Gravity Forms, your solutions, WordPress. It's amazing to me to think about WordPress as like solving this as a general hub, right? Like this platform that you can put Gravity Forms and your suite of solutions on top of. Is there a future of CosmicGiant that sort of just runs on its own? No need for WordPress? ?
We definitely always see ourselves being a part of the WordPress space because
Travis the politician, everybody. Yeah.
I've never really deeply thought about that question before, but like you asked me that, I'm already digging in of like, man, that would be a lot of engineering lift to like get to like all this user management and like form creation. Like it's nice having all that taken care of and like being able to leverage WordPress. And on top of that, the Gravity Forms platform, it's not just like fillable PDFs and entry automation, legal signing and advanced permissions like on their own. It's also how do we interact with the other certified developers and other third-party apps in just the Gravity Forms ecosystem itself. Like a lot of like what people like to do is like with entry automation or even fillable PDFs, they use like the Gravity Forms nested forms perk to be able to like create a bunch of child entries. And sometimes like that could be a form for like, hey, you're signing up for a soccer tournament. And like, hey, like there's a child form that collects all the team information. And then you could generate a PDF of just that main form and then generate PDFs off of all those child entries. So it's like doing stuff like that, bringing everything together by staying on the WordPress platform and working tightly in the Gravity Forms ecosystem allows us to make those powerful solutions very easily.
What's the workflow like? Illustrate it for somebody who's listening to this. They have a 20-page PDF document that they're printing out now and handing out to people that walk into their offices to do a thing. Is it an act of taking that document and just uploading it right in? Do they have to print and scan? Like what does that workload look like for somebody who wants to load in their current form into your system?
So you have to have your document in a PDF already. Whether if it's a paper form, you'll definitely need to scan into a PDF, or if it's like in InDesign, Microsoft Word, like any of those apps, like exporting into a PDF. Then you want to bring it into a tool like Adobe Acrobat or Jotform or PDF Escape. And what those apps can do is add those fillable fields to the PDF that are needed to input the data into. And most of those apps just have like a one-click like magic detect like all the fields and just like pop them in for you. So like that part of the process is seamless. From there, you'll need to create a Gravity form on your site. And there's two ways you can do this. You can do it like the standard way, which is just like clicking the add new button in Gravity Forms and like adding all your form fields. Or you can use our import PDF feature, which lets you drag and drop your PDF file in, and we'll go ahead and detect all those fields in the PDF, map them to their Gravity Forms counterparts, and create a Gravity form based out of that structure. From there, you'll just upload that PDF as a template, go to your form, select that PDF as a template, and just click and map all of your form fields to the PDF. And
nice.
Like that, you generate PDFs. So you can, if you have your PDF already prepared, you can honestly be up and running in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
As we close out here, let's just talk about pricing. You have what I would say is one of the most progressive pricing structures in the WordPress space, because you have a suite of products that do that all unlock these unique features. But when combined, you have a lot of folks that can leverage this from the agency's perspective, right? So if you go to the upper right-hand corner of CosmicGiant, you can click on the bundle and save. You have the agency bundle for $9.99 a year. That gets you all of the products across 50 sites, right?
Yes.
So if you're an agency who, again, appeals to, I keep going to real estate just because I just keep thinking of so much paper the last time I refinanced my house. I think of that. So if you're an agency and you want to lead yourself into your customer, you can say, hey, look, not only can we build you the website, but let's shift that conversation to making your website and your digital workflow way more efficient, right? And as an agency can turn to you and say, hey, look, we can service 50 clients for $9.99 a year. And then they're making it on top of whatever their support and services fees are. Seems like a pretty smart way to go. Any changes to pricing? Anything new? Anything that you want to comment on how you structure your pricing?
Our pricing is pretty much set for a little while now. I'm trying to like be careful because we could have a call tomorrow and be like, hey, we should raise prices, but like that's unlikely. We definitely price around the value we bring, which can make the prices like a little higher than other WordPress plugins in the space. But like, as we've discussed on the call, like that one estate business, like all that time that they're saving by like not having to do all those phone calls and all that back and forth, like that's absolutely worth like $279 a year for the plugin. And especially with like the legal signing product that we have that starts at $249, which is an extension of Fillable PDFs that adds legally binding document functionality on top of it, like a la DocuSign, except it's all in Gravity Forms. All the data stays on your site, and it allows you to capture information from multiple signers to generate a single contract. If you try to do something like that with DocuSign, you're looking at spending probably at least $300 a year minimum. And that's before you start adding like multiple users in your business that you need to be able to access that, how many documents you need to send out per year. We're able to do that all for $279 a year starting at. And all that data stays on your site. You always have access to those generated documents. It's always unlimited users. And we think it's a great value. Definitely more expensive for the WordPress space, but compared to like other solutions out there.
Listen, if you're listening to this and you're a WordPress freelancer and you're trying to find your footing, you can't be everything to everyone, but your products really make me think like, wow, I could dig my heels into higher education, right? Because my God, I can't even imagine the amount of forms that are passed between big universities with multiple like colleges, so the business college, the science college, like communications college, all these people passing data and forms through one another, accounting firms, law firms. Like it's like pick your vertical that you think you can get into. And man, this suite of products is one way. Of course, Gravity Forms as well with contact forms, but this particular product, you could walk in with, hey, we just make your paper business more efficient. Let me show you how. Yeah. And that could be and then, oh, by the way, we sell you a website on the back end versus most people who walk in and go, I'll build you a website. And they're like, no, we don't need you. Yeah. But no, I got this thing that I can do. And that's what I really, really like about your stuff.
And to kind of like complete that suite, complete that journey is our fourth product, Advanced Permissions. Like you're passing all of this data around to different sites. And what Advanced Permissions allows you to do is instead of just having like you set up a role on your website for like some of the people in your business to be able to access Gravity Forms data, but there might be certain forms that they don't either need to see the entries, they don't need to be able to change the fields on the form, or even see specific entry data. Like if this entry belongs to this one department, like this person should not see that entry data. And that's where Advanced Permissions comes in. It lets you create permission structures at a per form level within Gravity Forms. And it really like enhances your data security there.
Travis Lopes, CosmicGiant. ForGravity is now CosmicGiant. At the time of this recording, that banner is still there. I reckon it'll still be there probably for maybe another month or so. Where can folks go to say thanks, Travis?
Yeah, come check us out at CosmicGiant.com. As part of the rebrand, we got a very expensive domain name, so I would very much like people to visit us.
Really fun stuff. Great conversation with TL. Hope you really like it. If you do, go say thanks to him. On Twitter, we're going to talk real briefly as we wrap up this episode. Conversational Forms Beta 5. We're moving into a Beta 5. If you've not yet joined the beta program, it is fairly unique. We talked about this in the last few episodes. Go to gravityforms.com/beta. You can join the newsletter. It's also going to invite you to the Facebook group. Now, we talked about it again in the last episode. We're supposed to have a webinar this past week. It's going to happen the week you're hearing this audio. You'll have that linked up in the show notes. And if you're on the beta list, you would have been emailed about it. If you're in the Facebook group, you would have been notified about it. Tune in today, in fact, is when the webinar is going out. So if you're hearing this and you want to scramble and you're already a customer, you have to be a customer to be in the beta group. Go to gravityforms.com/beta. We're going to show off all things Conversational Forms Beta 5, really taking our time with this one because there's a lot of moving pieces. We're going to have a great demo site set up when this thing is ready to roll. So if you've been following Conversational Forms, it's going to be there really soon. Get into the webinar today if you can. All right, not going to lie, it's been a busy week. I've been out of the office. Dustin has been out of the office, so no video of the week this week. And typically what's new with WordPress, I gave you 3 links, but there wasn't a whole heck of a lot happening. Except for WordPress 20th anniversary. It's already passed, but you can go on Twitter and search for hashtag WP20. Josepha Hayden-Champosi had encouraged lots of folks around the community to share a video using that hashtag. If you, have been living under a WordPress news rock, or you're too busy like the rest of us and you didn't catch all of those anniversary tweets, go back and check that out. I'm going to link up a podcast from the WP Minute where a whole cast of characters got around a roundtable and talked about their lessons, journey with WordPress, everything that they've done to kind of commemorate and celebrate WordPress 20th anniversary. If you're looking for that kind of backlog in the history of WordPress, check out that link in the show notes. A couple of other important things around the WordPress world. Again, links in the show notes. Gutenberg 15.8 adds page menus to site editor revisions, UI to global styles. Once again, Gutenberg enhancing its way to hopefully more usability, especially around the pesky menu. It's where I struggle the most with the newer versions of full site editing, or just, I guess, the whole concept of full site editing and building out these new age, can I say that? New age WordPress websites here almost halfway through the year 2023. But it's always good to see these iterations, these iterative enhancements to full site editing, and especially the menu editor. If you're not using the standalone Gutenberg editor, plugin, and you're just using core, you're not going to see these updates. But if you go and you add Gutenberg, the plugin to your site, you can get a lot of these changes to 15.8. Everything is better for every version. It's just taking a while to get there. Speaking of themes, again, I'm going to link up another post by The Tavern. If you're somebody like me and you're always kind of looking at interesting new themes that maybe you can use on your own website or your clients' websites, there's a company called Shufflehound who's been making quite a splash, at least over on The Tavern. Sarah Gooding covers their release of a child theme, which is not a term I've heard in a while. I haven't seen a lot of commercial themes launching child themes as much as they're just launching standalone themes that can do a whole bunch of things with different patterns. But Shufflehound releases a free Lemony child theme. That's their parent theme for agencies. It looks pretty cool. If you're somebody who's a freelancer, or you're building out something that needs a pricing grid, I really like their design aesthetic. Shufflehound. They're making some pretty good decisions with their newest themes. Look, it's always fun to have a new theme to throw into the mix, and I always like to see and test out new stuff. And it's a nice mix of what they're doing with patterns in Gutenberg, and their theme design choices are spot on, in my opinion. Check it out. Links in the show notes. I'm going to throw it back to Izzy. She's going to give you an overview of the giveaway coming up really soon. One more time, we're going to hear it. But before we do, if you do enjoy this podcast, tweet at me at Matt Medeiros on Twitter, at Gravity Forms on Twitter. Send us a message in our contact form, because we do contact forms, gravityforms.com/contact. Let me know what you like about the podcast. Share it with others. Please share it with others. Put it in your favorite podcast listening app. All right, here's Izzy one more time with that TikTok giveaway for Gravity Forms. Here we go.
WordCamp EU will be here before you know it, and we can't wait. Not only are they chock full with learning opportunities, but it's a great time for networking and sharing groundbreaking ideas. Which is why we're hosting a WordCamp EU #FormAnything giveaway. Here's what you need to know to enter. All you need to do is follow us on TikTok, share or repost one of our recent TikToks, and tag us in your own TikTok using #FormAnything. And that's it. The giveaway will run until June 9th at 9 a.m. EST, and we'll be giving away the prizes June 10th at the Gravity Forms booth. We'll see you there.